Hey guys, this is Mrs. Stanton here. We are getting set to go through the topic 8 more practice in order to prepare you for your test. If you're ready to go, you can go ahead and just head to the test on Canvas for you. Or if you have some questions, you can fast forward to whichever questions you need to on here. If you take a look at this first problem, they want you to simplify these and say which ones are equivalent to -2. So when I look at this first problem here, all you have to do is go through and simplify each of these. So this first one, this would be equivalent to 1/2. So that is definitely not it. Okay. This one right below it, that's saying the cubed root of -8 because the -8 is in parentheses. Okay, so with that, that would equal the negative comes out and the cubed root of 8 is 2. So yes, that would be an equivalent. Okay, now here we have -4 to the 1/2. That's like saying negative and then 4 to the 1/2. So with that, we would call that negative, and then that 1/2 is the same as the square root, which is 2. So that would work also. On this problem, this would be like saying the square root of -4. And if you remember, we talked about if we have even roots, the radicand inside cannot be negative. So this is actually no solution, no real solution. So that is not an option. And then here, again, this is like saying negative on the outside, the cubed root of 8. The cubed root of 8 is 2. And that -6 out front. So yes, that would be a solution. So you have 3 on this one. Number 2. So on this problem, I check. This is simplified all the way. Guys, what you're going to have to do, there's no easy way around this. You are going to have to simplify each of these expressions. Okay. And when you go through and do that on this problem here, the first thing I do, I'm going to simplify. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 16 4 times. My x's are bigger on top by 1. My y's are bigger on the bottom by 3. My z's are bigger on top by 2. So that one works. Right below it, if I simplify this, 2 squared is 4. With this extra 2 here, that gives me 8. Okay. Right away, guys, I know that 8 on top and nothing else simplifies does not match that 4 up there, so that is not it. Okay, here, I know I'd have a 12 on top. That 3 right here would move to the bottom. Well, 12 divided by 3 simplifies to 4 on top. I'd have a single x on top. And then I'd have I look at my y's, I'd have 4 on top minus over here. So my 7 would go to the bottom. I'd have 3 extra y's on the bottom. And then my z's, there's no z's on top. Those z squareds go to the bottom, which means because those z's are on the bottom, that is not equivalent. Jump over here to the top. If I jump on this one, this 8 would be on the bottom because of that negative square root. Okay, right away, guys, I know that's not possible because, again, they want that 4 in the numerator. So that is not an option. And then on this last one, I've got a 2 on top. I am bringing the 2 also up to the top. That x stays on the bottom because it would now become a positive 4. The y would become positive, and that z goes to the top. If I simplify my top, okay, I have 4. I have a z squared. My x's are bigger on top by 1, and my y's are bigger on the bottom by 3. That does match what it has up there, so that is an answer. Page 4 here, they just want you guys to simplify this. The biggest thing to note, that negative, it's going to stay out front. So I can immediately cross off anything on here that has an overall positive answer. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to immediately rewrite all of this with things flipped, because this negative is going to flip things. Be careful with these other two negative exponents. So my 4 goes to the bottom, a to the third to the bottom, b to the 0, gone. C to the 4th stays on top. On the bottom, my 6 comes to the top, my a comes to the top, my b comes to the top, my c stays down there. Cleaning this up, okay, cleaning that up, that switches into 3/2. Again, that negative's out front. My a's are bigger on the bottom by 2. My b's, all 7 of them up there, and my c's are bigger on the top by 2. So we're looking for negative 3b to the 7th c squared all over 2a squared. And that matches this answer right here. Question 5. Each one of these guys you're going to have to go through and simplify here. When I simplify that first one, okay, this is simply asking for the square roots. And because of that negative exponent, everything moves to the opposite side. So with that, I would end up with the square root, the square root of 16 is 4 on the bottom. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared, and that's on the bottom. The square root of y to the 6th is y to the 3rd on the bottom. On top, we have x to the 4th and y squared. Clean that up, and you would be bringing the answer of x squared over 4y. On this next one, when you go ahead and simplify that, okay, -2, because that's in parentheses, we're going to take it as a -2 squared, okay? -2 squared here. Let me get a different color. Okay, so that ends up with 4x squared, and then y to the 1/2 to the 2nd power is just y to the 1. So we're looking at 4x squared y. Here, my -64 to the 1/3, again, think of that as parentheses there. That gives me a negative, and then the cubed root of 64 is 4. X to the 6th to the 1/3 is an x squared, and then again y. Down below on this, if I simplify this out, I'm going to get 16 x squared y to the 3rd. And then on the bottom, so this is all going to be over 64 y to the 4th. Cleaning that up, I end up with x squared on top and 4y on the bottom. And then this last one here, I'm going to have a negative out front. 20 divided by 5 is 4 on top. My x's are bigger by 2 on top. My y's are bigger by 1 on top. Okay, number 6. This one, guys, number 6, this is tricky. You're going to have to work backwards on a lot of things here. I'm going to tell you that your x powers, your b and your c, are going to be your most difficult. I am going to start with my whole numbers, okay? So with this, come on. I know that I end up with a 3 on top, okay? And I also know that this 9 to the 1/2 gives me my 3, okay? So now I just need to figure out what goes in this a spot that when raised to the -3/4 power gives me 8. So it's like saying, what is in here that looks like this that gives me the answer of 8? Well, you can try these, guys. I mean, worst case scenario, you can plug in, okay? But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, what raised to the third power gives me 8? And that's 2. Okay. So now I need to know what is, well, let me work backwards here. Okay. We know that an unknown number raised to the 3/4 power equals 8. Okay. So again, we know that the 4th root of x raised to the 3rd power. Okay. So let's go backwards. How do we undo a exponent? We root it. So again, the cubed root of 8. So I'm going to undo the cube by cube rooting. So now I have the 4th root of x is 2. How do I undo a 4th root? I raise it to the 4th root. And 2 to the 4th equals 16. So my number that's going to go in this spot here is a 16. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my y's. Okay, now I know that I can do this. I can actually do that out, and I end up with y negative times a negative makes it positive. And I end up with 16 divided by 4 is 4 times 3 is 12. Y to the 12th, and that's on top. I need to know what on the bottom is going to make that equal y to the 6th on top. Well, don't forget that this gets divided in half. So what divided by 2? Well, I know that this would have to equal 6 because 12 minus 6 gives me 6. So I'm going to multiply the 6 by 2 and get 12. This ends up being y to the 12th power. Okay. Now for the x's, I'm going to go ahead and clear all this so that we have some more room to work here. Okay. The exponents that go with my x's, both of these are blank. I know that x to a number times negative 3/4 times x to a number times 1/2 is going to end up with something over x squared. Okay. So with this, what I'm going to do right away, here, guys, and again, worst case scenario, you can just plug numbers in and see what works. Okay. Let's see what works here. Right away, I know that this has to make it come to the bottom. So I know I'm going to have x to the something times 1/2, or what we can do, I'm going to rewrite this to say x to the something over 2. And then I'm going to take this to the bottom and make it x to the something times 3/4. Okay. And I'm just going to try some numbers here. I'm going to plug in my 8, okay, and see what that gets me. Now, remember, this would go up in this spot right here. So with that, if I had 8 divided by 4, that's 2. 2 times 3 makes this actually an x to the 6th power. Well, what would have to be up here over 2 with a 6 on the bottom to make that a squared term now? Okay. And I know that has to be 2 units bigger. Okay. 2 units bigger. So if I have 6 on the bottom, that means I have to have 8 on top. And then this whole thing would have to equal 8. Okay. So it gets divided by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 10. So we're going to put a 16 here and an 8 here. That works. If I had picked some other numbers and it didn't work, then I would start it over again and choose another set. Number 7. Number 7 is the same exact idea, guys, except we just actually have to do the problem. Okay. So with this right here, I'm going to write this as a 2xy squared. Okay. My 8 raised to the 4/3, that's saying the cubed root of 8, which is 2, raised to the 4th, that's 16. So I have a 16 up top. Okay, x squared times 4/3, that's 8/3. So I have an x to the 8/3. And then that y, 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 3 gives me y to the 8th. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this up. 16/2, that simplifies to 8/1. Okay, I'm not sure why they really put that C spot down there, but they want you to put the 1 down. Okay, now I'm going to do my y's because that one's easier. My y's are bigger on the bottom by 6. Okay, now my x's. I'm going to change color so you can see what's happening here. In order to add this x and this x together, we need like denominators. Well, that would just be 3/3. 3 plus 8 is 11, so I would have 11/3. Page 8. Guys, this is just walking you through the simplification process, okay? With this, when I have something to the cubed root, okay, that means that it's raised to the 1/3 power. And this is like saying 54 to the 1/3 times x to the 4/3. And then when I simplify this, this gets a little bit confusing. What they did was they broke apart that 54, guys, with a 9 and a 6 and a 3 and a 2 and a 3 and a 3. Okay, so that's the same as saying 3 to the 3rd to the 1/3 power, which is just 3 to the 1 power, which is just 3. My leftover, 2 to the 1/3. My x's, I have a total of 4 of them. That means 1 whole set and a 1/3 left over. If I simplify that down, that gives me 3x to the cube root of 2x. Number nine, it may be easier to think of this in cube root form. So that's what I did, is I'm going to write this out as the cubed root of 24a to the 4th, b to the 9th. Okay, break apart that 24 and I get, we'll just do 6 and 4, 3, 2, 2, 2. So I have a set of 2's that come out and I have a 3 left inside. Okay, right away, I can get rid of this one, and this one. Okay, let's look at the rest of this. A's, I can pull a whole one out with a leftover in. My B's, I can pull out 3 sets of 3. Okay, so my answer, 2ab to the 3rd and times the cubed root of 3a. Page 10. Couple things here, guys. This is a lot on this problem. You've got to simplify this down first. When I simplify that, I get 4x squared over y to the 4th. So now you've got to go through and simplify every single one of these. Okay? So when I do that, I'm going to pick some of the easier ones to start. My square root of 8, we can't take the square root of 8. That's not going to give me a whole answer like this. So I can get rid of that one right now. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here to this problem. I know the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared. And the square root of y to the 8th is y to the 4th. So there that matches. So I would choose this as an answer. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my power chart to look for what 4th power equals 128. What 4th power equals 128? That would be nothing. Nothing. So I don't have to worry about that one. Again, because we want it to come out as a whole 4. I'm going to come over here to this top one. The cubed root of 8 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. The cubed root of x to the third is x times x is x squared. And then we have over the cubed root of y to the 12th is y to the 4th. So that one does work. It matches. And then I look at this middle one and it says the fourth root of 256. If I look at what the fourth root of 256 is, that is 4. The fourth root of x to the 8th is x squared. And the fourth root of y to the 16th is y to the 4th. So that one works also. Number 11. Again, guys, this is just simplifying this down. Okay. Different ways that you can work through this problem. I know that the square root of 36 is 6. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared. And the square root of y to the 14th is y to the 7th. Okay. Now working on this half, the cubed root of 27 is 3. The cubed root of x to the 15th is x to the 5th. And the cubed root of y to the negative 6, that puts it on the bottom, is y squared. Cleaning that up, that's going to give me 18 x to the 7th and y to the 5th. So that's that answer there. And then the last question, guys, that's just running through these. I'll quickly go through and tell you what they are. Where these are equal. Okay, and this is just simplifying each half down to figure out what they are. My next one, those are indeed equal. Not equal, not equal, not equal. Okay, good luck on your test.